What's up, everyone? Time for another malt review.
Malt review.
Springbank. This is an expression. Well, here I'm gonna read the label. It's kind of a cool, funky bottle.
Very cool.
This was bottled in 2009, so a little different than the current single cask bottlings. It is a 12-year-old single cask. It says 12 years in a cream sherry butt. I don't think you guys can see that, but it says 12 years in cream sherry butt. It says it was distilled in June 1996 and bottled in April 2009. You got 592 bottles, cask 96 and cask 274. So 2 casks, not really a single cask. And then the strength is 56.1% ABV. So cask strength, 12-year-old Springbank, bottled in 2009 in cream sherry. I remember these back in the day. We were actually talking about which ones we have. We don't even remember which ones we have. But I think Mike was reminding me that we got all of them. I think a lot of them are unopened. I don't even know where we have them stored.
Gotta find them.
Somewhere in the whiskey vault. But the Oloroso version of this, so this is the cream sherry. There's an Oloroso one.
And Amontillado.
And an Amontillado. There's, I think, another one.
Maybe a fourth one, but I can't remember.
Yeah. And then the Oloroso one of this is what inspired us to read more about Springbanks. We started seeing how legendary old Springbanks were, and that's when we started buying all our old school Springbanks. So this is kind of what got us into the game. This is called the Wood Expressions, as you can see in the back. So there was about 4 or 5 of these. I don't remember how many. This being the cream sherry. The Oloroso one of this was really good. We finished it right away.
Eye-opener.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the cream sherry version, this has been opened forever.
Yep.
So, I don't know,
Probably
8 years?
2010 or 11.
Yeah, so this has been
Remember
open
it
for
came
about
out?
8 years.
After it came out.
I've never gassed it. The reason being is it had some nasty sulfur. I don't know why this particular bottle had really bad sulfur, and we really didn't like it. About 6 months ago, we were never gonna review this just because we really didn't like it. About 6 months ago, tried it again, and the sulfur was gone. I couldn't believe that it went from that sulfury, aired out for 8 years, however many years, 7, 8, 9
Something
years,
like
I don't
that.
remember. And it is completely gone. I'm not getting any elements of it at all. And normally, like, some will go away, but it's pretty crazy that, you could have this much left in a bottle. Sometimes that can flatten out. It can flatten out over a couple of years sometimes. It just depends. Our Macallan 25 bottle, when it was down to a little bit, it had really flattened out, and we were pissed off.
Yep.
It completely changed. In the beginning, it was epic, and then it just kind of flattened out. This one, at cask strength, has not flattened out at all. It's completely just kept improving, and it's a good, solid whiskey now. So it's pretty cool. Something to keep in mind. If you do get something that's too sulfury, put it to the side. Try it again in 6 months. Try it again in another 6 months. Have a little bit at a time and just wait for it. It eventually tends to go away.
For sure.
This has been breathing for about 15 minutes. The nose, for those of you who've tried a lot of these recent Springbank 12s and single cask expressions that Springbank is still releasing, and the cool part about Springbank, they still release quality stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You get a lot of that Springbank funk, a lot of that musty quality. Definitely sherried, lots of toffee, chocolate, and tons of dried fruits. The dates, the figs, the raisins. The wood element and the cask strength elements bring in some oaky, leathery qualities. It's not a lot of leather. Oaky is probably more the right word to use. A lot of rust.
Oh, yeah. Oak, dust, rust.
Yeah.
Like old furniture.
Well, definitely old bookstore, old furniture.
Bookstore, yeah.
Right? You walk into that old bookstore, you walk into it's got an antique kind of a smell.
Yeah.
And normally you get that with really old whiskeys, but this funky element of this is kind of bringing that out.
And a little bit of like dirty rubber, like dirty old rubber, but in a good way.
Very well said. Very, very well said. The peat kind of comes out a little bit on this, right?
Yep.
Where some Springbanks you don't get a lot of peat. This one, the peat's kind of coming out,
Yep.
a little rubbery. It's a lot of times you get the furniture store dusty effects with like 30, 40-year-old whiskeys, like old whiskeys.
No.
You can tell this is not an old whiskey because it does. It's not harsh. I don't want to use the word harsh. But it is a little bit. It's got that rawness, like that raw cast strength young whiskey.
Immature.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
just-
slight.
It comes off as immature. Good quality, but
Yeah, it's not full.
unrefined,
Yeah.
unpolished.
Yes, it's not polished. It's got a lot of rough edges, a lot of good qualities, but a lot of rough edges as well.
Bingo.
But unique.
Definitely.
Yeah, this has improved so much. Mike doesn't remember,
No,
but
no.
this thing.
I haven't had it forever.
I haven't had it forever either. I just randomly tried it.
But it's definitely because the Oloroso that really got us into Springbank was awesome, and this
It was
is
amazing.
kind of reminding me a little bit of that now.
I need to go look.
You got to find that
Like,
bottle.
I know. I think we have one that's closed. I gotta go find
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome.
On the palate.
Got to review it.
That's powerful.
Cask straight.
Poured you a small dram, maybe a touch of water.
You want to need a small drip. Nice drying effects on the back of the palate. So much toffee, a lot of wood spice, but a lot of quality Springbank, kind of deep, malty, rich, cereally, funky Campbelltown character.
Good aftertaste, it leaves you, but at first it was a little hot for me.
Not too hot for me.
Not too, you're an alcoholic, that's why.
That's probably true.
No one can hold his alcohol like Mike.
56.1, that's about right.
Yeah, and my
I still strong.
going off the review a little bit. I had my wedding about a year ago, and all my relatives. He was my best man at my wedding, and all my relatives were, "Dang, your best man can hold his alcohol. He was drinking nonstop." I'm like, "Oh yeah, Mike can drink, hold his alcohol better than anyone." But yeah, I'd say water does not improve the nose at all. It actually,
It's great.
yeah. I'm gonna try it on the palate with water. I didn't like it with water either on the palate. I probably put too much water in it.
I think
Such a
the
small
best
gram.
way is how I did it.
Yeah,
It's like a shot, a little baby shot.
yeah. It's
Cause it is powerful.
a lot of berry on the palate. I get tons of bitter orange peel, along with a lot of those dried fruits that we were talking about. A lot of rusty. I don't know how to describe. I say the word rusty, and you
Yeah,
think of
rust.
like, you see rust. You see like silver, like turn brown, rust.
Right.
But I don't know why I'm thinking of that word when I'm
Yeah.
drinking some of these funky element. Reminds me of rust. It's almost like the sherry is rusted, right?
Right.
It's not
I know
clean
what you
sherry. It says cream sherry, but it's not a creamy sherry. It's a rusty sherry.
They should say rusty sherry cask.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But solid whiskey. It's not one of my favorite Springbanks.
Different, very unique.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite Springbanks I've ever had.
No.
I'd score this at an 85 out of 100.
I give it 83 out of 100.
Okay. All right, you guys. Please subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you've tried this bottle or anything similar to it with these old wood expressions. I know this was bottled in 2009. But we'll be back with many more reviews. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.